Solana's network has crashed once again. Is the network overall dead? Well, it doesn't necessarily matter, guys, because we have a massive giveaway where we'll be giving away over $1,000 or so in Cardano. It's time to discover crypto.
Capital flight is coming to the United States. The dollar is going to zero.
And that's what makes Bitcoin so special.
You have to have gone through a couple cycles to understand.
Once the price is able to clear this level, the breakout is on its way.
This is your indication to jump in now.
We've had quite the pullback in about the last 24 hours with Solana and a lot of its ecosystem. There's going to be a few altcoins I'm specifically watching, but as I speak, guys, markets are starting to pump. We are getting over $43,000 now on Bitcoin, Ethereum at $2,300. But I have to ask, Deezy, what was your first response to Solana's network going down last night?
I was here for 2021. I was a holder. I was minting NFTs on Solana over 2 years ago, so I was an early adopter of that chain. And not only an adopter of the chain, I bought the coin and I held it. No, I mean, I was in Step. I was in, ArtPunk. I was in a lot of ecosystems within Solana. And to me, it's just, every time it went down in 2021, the price paradoxically would be in the green. And so when I saw it, I immediately thought, oh, Solana's probably pumping.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we're starting to see now on the charts. There's barely a pullback, but we'll get to what this actually means for the Solana network, what the devs are doing. We have in real-time evidence of the devs actually working on the servers that we'll get to in just a second. But Bitcoin, guys, $43,156. We got a kind of a 50-50 scenario here. People saying, no, we're going to crash. No, we're going to go to the moon. And of course, right now, we've been just trading sideways, what it feels like almost forever. But we have Ethereum at $2,300, a BNB up over $300 again. Solana, again, barely getting even dented. In the last 7 days, down about 10%. The majority of that comes from last night, but it's, again, rebounding here. And we'll get to the altcoins in its ecosystem that could be solid picks.
Chainlink falling a little bit if you scroll down to number 12. Remember, Chainlink was flirting with top 10 on CoinMarketCap, top 11 on CoinGecko because of Lido staked Ether. And now it is Dogecoin firmly trying to beat it. We got Doge, Chainlink doing this like top 10 battle here.
Top 10, I think Chainlink, Chainlink's at 12 now. They're literally at the same market cap right there, but that 7 day on Chainlink is just wild to see. I mean, there's not another crypto in the top 15 that is even showing the same percentage gains as that. So 23% still up on the weekly. It's only right we see a bit of a pullback. But the top 24 hours, guys, we have BitTensor, Tau, leading the 24-hour pump again here, up 14% in the last 24 hours. Let me know in the chat. I'm curious to know if any of you guys actually own BitTensor itself.
So let me just point something out. We can share my screen. BitTensor is now a top 30 project.
Wow.
And it has a higher market cap than Optimism, higher market cap than XLM, Immutable X, Near Tia, Filecoin, HBAR, Arbitrum, Caspa, VeChain, Monero, Sui. Is it a better project than all these coins?
I don't know, but I have to say that Hedera, seeing that be a mover in the top 24 hours just goes to show how stable these current markets are. I'm an HBAR bear, and I've held HBAR since literally like 2 to 3 pennies back in November of 2020. But man, we are like the one community that's never seen that pump that we always have been waiting for. So seeing that move with these markets, it does show that we're in this kind of stable-like period, but BitTensor definitely outperforming. You have Synthetics here, 4.4%, Optimism OP at 4.1%, Arbitrum, DYDX, and Uniswap here for like the top movers of the day.
But the top losers, I mean, it is a bloodbath.
There's no losers here. We're all winners.
We're all winners. We're all winners. But it is a loser for privacy and, censorship, or it's a win for censorship here. Monero has fallen 32%.
Wow.
Still barely hanging on top 50 status right here, but got delisted from Binance. We're going to talk about that. And Flare. Flare's, I don't want to say quite a healthy pullback. 12% never really feels healthy, but it was up 33% for the week. And so it's a slight retracement is what I'll call it today.
Yeah, and Flare has been leading those charts, but Monero, this is going to be a very interesting conversation. So you guys want to make sure you guys smash that like button, stick around, because later in this live stream, we're going to be getting into why Monero's price action is moving to the downside. But honestly, it really feels like there is a fight against privacy in this sector. We have, if Cardano shut down as many times as Solana, what's that say? I got my glasses
on. The Cardano community would never hear the end of it. Why give Solana a pass? Real question.
Shut down as many, yeah. Well, I think there's multiple answers here. I want to have you just talk about Cardano's community over Solana's for 1 second. why is it, that they would complain?
I would say Cardano has, I think it's kind of a fair statement here. They have higher standards. They have higher standards when it comes to NFT projects, when it comes to stablecoins, when it comes to DeFi, when it just comes to the ecosystem as a whole. That's why their motto essentially is move slowly and build correctly. And so when you have that ethos, if that chain were to go down, I feel like a higher percentage of Cardano holders would abandon it forever compared to Solana. Because I was a holder when Solana went down. And you know what? I kept holding. And it went down a dozen more times, and I kept holding. I don't know if the Cardano community would be as forgiving.
Yeah, the comparison I'm going to make here, and don't tackle. I want to make sure no one comes out of nowhere and tackles me for saying this. But what I would make the comparison to would be like, let's use the music industry. Cardano, and I'm going to get trashed on this, could be like Cardano's not the best, whatever. But in this analogy, okay, Cardano is a Jimi Hendrix, right? It's never had an issue. It's never messed up. It's never had a network outage. So that's never going to actually have to even take place. Solana is the Taylor Swift, right? Knows how to play the guitar, but I would not put her in comparison to being able to play a guitar like Jimi Hendrix, right? So hopefully that analogy, I feel fire already and feel some heat getting in here. But that's how I would make it here. Solana is going to be the ecosystem that everybody loves and enjoys. It's the K-pop stars, they can sing, it's good music, and it's going to be viral. Cardano's like the person that like knows how to play, unlike everybody else, but of course just doesn't have the same range here in terms of popularity. But MONERO, guys, again, 32% down, Ronin down 8.2%, which very interesting here. We're seeing this come back out in the last 24 hours. Another article we'll get to in just a second on why that's moving is because of inside trading potentially. Frax down 4.8%, Jupiter at 4.3%, and Meta down 3.9%. So this really just rolls us over into the top article today. Is Solana blasphemy? I knew that was, I felt the heat come as I said that, but I think it would make sense for more people that are coming into the industry that are new. But Solana, guys, crashes 5% to $93 as team confirms yet again another network outage. The Solana blockchain has encountered an unexpected hiccup with no new transaction block recorded on the network over the past hour. At press time, data from Solana Blockchain Explorer suggested that last registered transaction happened at the height of 9:52 p.m. UTC. So meanwhile this happened, guys, the Solana development team has confirmed that the network is outage or has had an outage, and it caused a block to progression to the halt. But what I want to point out, guys, is don't be scared, okay? Be aware the Solana devs right now are on the site. They are working, and they are getting these servers up and running faster than ever. So W's in the chat for the Solana devs. They're hard at work, working 24/7, haven't even slept yet. And they're definitely going to be taking those. Right, but I love that pictures.
Now the more serious, okay, the sky isn't falling. Don't be surprised if Solana has a green candle tomorrow. It is certainly possible here. And Solana is going to, I would assume it's fallen 13 times and it got back up every time. What's going to happen this time? I think it's going to get back up. And so let me spell out what's going to happen exactly with Solana here. This is from P2Moo, player 2Moo. What happens when Solana goes down? Better question. How do we get it back up? Because now it's down, so now what? It's decentralized, so there needs to be a consensus amongst validators. Here's a sneak peek behind the curtains, i.e. Solana Discord. That's actually real. I mean, when you hear, oh, it's a bunch of people in a Discord, I mean, it's technically true here. Engineers need to figure out what caused the outage to begin with. Restarting it without understanding would just lead to it halting again. So we got to figure out the issue. Then we get a consensus on what block to restart. Basically, it's a string of blocks, and then at some point you need to get people printing new blocks while others have not. So then we come together and we figure out, all right, this is the good block height. Once we agree that this is the safest block height, then they collectively decide to take a snapshot of that. And now we restart from that area, right? So now we have the block height. Restart instructions are posted. Validators start putting in the instructions on the machines. Restart is underway. We are right here, okay? Slowly but surely, more validators start to restart their machines. Remember, it's global. So people are sleeping while others are awake. This is why it takes a very long time to get enough validators restarted. Enough validators restart, a critical number is met, and then the network will resume. Now, if you want the bearish take here, this would be the bearish take. This is hilarious to imagine. Why isn't Jeff picking up his damn phone? The entire network is down. He's the only one who can restart the validator. Jeff's asleep, dude. That's a funny scenario, but that's an accurate scenario. So that's essentially what's going to have to happen. Some people are asleep. I know it's a meme, but it's reality. And so once we get enough validators globally, then Solana's going to be fine. Until
Yeah,
it maybe breaks again.
And will that happen?
We don't know.
Only
I'm
time
not
will
a dev.
tell,
I don't
right?
know.
Exactly. But what I wanted to show was the mainnet bit. You guys can actually see when it's had its uptime and when it's had its downtime. So in December 2021,
Jeff's not here,
100% uptime. January 2022, you can see there's a lot of network issues. So if you go to Solana's like actual website, guys, you can see when they're constantly updating you guys. So the last incident it's been since January of 2023. We had February 2023, of course, with some cluster instability, and since then the incident has been removed here. And also, I think
My name's Jeff.
is that another one? No, so that was the last one. So it's been 1 year to date almost, because we're now in February 2024. It was breaking my brain for a second. I was like, we're in 2024. It's been almost a year since its last network outage. So there has been significant uptime and a lot better performance on the Solana ecosystem. But what I wanted to point out is this is what goes to show that decentralization isn't necessarily what's going to completely matter when investors are looking into a project. It comes back down to what's cheap, accessible, and fast. And so while you might have a network out there that's, safer, more decentralized, perhaps even more scalable, the network transactions, the speeds, and the low cost of having Solana is going to attract a lot more retailers, and that's why it has a $30 billion market cap.
Yeah, no, decentralized just makes it take longer to make a decision. And I don't mean, the transaction speeds per second. No, I mean, well, what do we do when something like this happens? What do we do when we want to update our X account to a yellow check mark? It's like, well, I vote for it and I don't vote for it. So you got to get a consensus versus you have a CEO who acts as a chairman dictator, and then everything would get done quickly. But I think people want to know.
Yeah, what's happening to the price?
Now
Do I
what's
buy?
happening?
Do I
Yeah.
sell? I don't know. Tim, welcome to the stream. Hopefully you can tell us on the charts here today. How is the Solana chart looking? Is this thing bleeding out, or is this just another one of those, man, we bounced?
Has Jeff woken up?
Has Jeff woken up and sparked
My
those
name's
charts?
Jeff.
Well, I guess I have to start by saying hola, because I am investing hermanos today.
Okay, you're
Investing hermanos.
Yeah. Hola, hola, hola. That's about all I know from my high school Spanish. So we're going to go ahead and move on with the rest of it. Solana
Football
going
player,
down,
he just got A's, y'all. They just passed him through.
Solana going down. You made an analogy earlier about Taylor Swift being Cardano, I guess. Well, I think the real analogy is more like if
Solana was Cardano. Solana was Taylor Swift.
Well, I thought you said Cardano was Taylor. You said it.
Solana was Taylor Swift.
Compare.
Cardano was Jimi Hendrix. Yeah.
All right. Well, I was just going to come on here and say, based on what Deezy said, if Cardano went down and had an outage, that would be like a 5-star restaurant serving terrible food versus Solana's like McDonald's. If McDonald's serves terrible food, you're like, oh, that sucks. But you're back in that drive-through the next day. Nobody really cares. You expect it from McDonald's.
Is that why the thumbnails, the broken
McDonald's,
ice cream, ice cream machine from McDonald's? Yeah, that makes sense. I see it.
Fast
That's
transactions. I like
That's
that.
it, guys. Well, let's talk about price action. Everyone is wondering about price action. This has been a big question. Even everyone in the Investing Bros community has been asking what's going on now. Depending on what chart you're looking at, we are looking at bullishness. We're looking at bearishness on other charts, though. What we're looking at here in Bitcoin, of course, King Crypto, what is it going to do? On the hourly chart, we are in a symmetrical triangle pattern right here that a breakout probably will be coming in the next couple of days. We do have to have a decision pretty much by the 12th, but I would expect it to happen before then. The worry for me, though, on Bitcoin comes all the way out in the daily chart. And you guys know the charts are brought to us by Lux Algo. The best, the number one indicator on TradingView. The whole ecosystem is phenomenal. And there's some scary looking things happening on the daily chart. Number one, though, and there's going to be a video coming out later this week about this trading strategy, which is phenomenal. But in this case, it's not looking good. Not only do we have a sell order, we're currently under a sell order that hit this perfectly right there at the top. We are also looking at this oscillator. The Lux Algo oscillator is currently under a reversal dot, bearish momentum, and the money flow has just crossed bearish here on the daily. Now, it did this back towards the end of January, quickly flipped back bullish slightly, but now it's moving once again, and this time it's paired with a lot more bearishness coming its way. Then you come out here, you take the oscillators down and look at, all right, well, historically in these pre-halving cycles, we do have a pullback, and we come back and touch at least one time back to the green support band. Well, where's the green support band coming back in at? High end all the way here at 37, but we could even get down here lower towards that 32,000 that we've been talking about. I'm not going to be surprised. We've been discussing a potential push up to 45 before this fall, but with this breakout coming, again, right now we're heading back up towards resistance, but keep an eye on it because hourly chart, we're going to come in here bearish. It's actually saying we should be moving more to the downside. Is it the 4 hour mixed? I know one of these was mixed. Yeah, 4 hour actually is bullish, saying, hey, we could make a move towards that 45, but then you come out here to the daily, and the daily is bearish once again. So if you're asking, what should I be trading right now? Well, scalping opportunities, you might potentially still have a chance to look for a short right here, maybe ride this one back down to the yellow line. But if a breakout does happen, we are talking about moving back down below 42,000. And then on those longer time frames, we start to ask the question, do we go below 40,000 as a whole? And how low do we exactly get? When it comes to the likes of a Solana, now I'm going to give you guys a bearish price action here on Solana, bearish price prediction. But I want you guys to understand this actually has nothing to do with the outage. A lot of people are looking for low price action based off the outage. Well, the truth is, before I tell you the low action, the negativity happened, the outage happened, and Solana did nothing. I think earlier, I think you might have misspoke, Josh, when you said that we had a plummet in price. Guys, we had about a whopping 2% drop in Solana's price after the outage. Why? Because it's McDonald's. It doesn't matter that they had an outage. They're going to rally. They rallied 300% this last year after the last outage. I'm not too concerned. What I am concerned about, though, on price action, I'm going to go out to the 4 hour chart, pull up Lux Algo, and you will see that we have flashed recently a sell order, and we have a take profit as well as a nice order block coming down here below $90, potentially making a push closer towards 82. In fact, is this, let's go, is this on the daily chart that we get the 82? I don't know. I saw 82 earlier here today. Maybe it's going to be down here. I don't know. It changed on me here just a little bit. Either way, order block coming in well below 90. I'm going to keep my eyes on this area. I think the other one might be I think, oh, there we go. It's a value area, fixed range volume that's going to give us a point of control way down here in this more recent time period. Well, it's going to be, I guess maybe it's based off of this one. Either way, guys, Solana does have negative price action coming in here on the 4 hour chart. What that means is you might still see some bullishness in the next couple of hours. You might even see bullishness over the next day or two. 4 hour chart is great at telling you about the next 3 to 5 days. And right now, this is where it gets really bad here. This right here, a falling level of resistance with a flat bottom, is what we would call a descending triangle. These traditionally are bearish. If you go, this is where I drew this out for Twitter this morning. I don't know if anyone saw my Twitter post, but this plays out and you go to the breakout. This is where we get that 82, I do believe, from. There we go, right there. And then you find that confluence down here. Okay, below the order block, but well within our take profit and right there towards the bottom of that green supply band on the 4 hour chart. Daily chart gets a little more ugly for Solana. Now you're starting to talk about potentially move down to the golden pocket at 52. I've been calling for stricter pullbacks on altcoins now for a while. The question is, how high can we get before that happens? Daily chart does have a technical bullish price action, maybe up back to 115. But honestly, right now, what I'm seeing on Bitcoin looking a little more bearish on that longer time frame, I think there's actually probably a greater likelihood we get a small bounce with alts and even Bitcoin. But I think that the next couple of weeks could get kind of bearish, in my personal opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, with the altcoins, I'm kind of curious just to know, we got some bearish price action coming into Solana, guys. Let us know your Solana price predictions in the chat below. Are you guys accumulating at this range? Do you expect a $75, $85, $90 Solana? Let us know in that chat and what altcoins you guys are going to be accumulating, because I'm very curious to know. There's a few altcoins we're going to talk about at the end of this live stream. I'm curious if any of you are watching the same ones that I am. You got some big things coming up here, yes?
Yeah, we got some big things on a giveaway. I want to say to Mike Bennett, descending wedge is bullish. Descending triangle is bearish. A key distinction right there. And yeah, folks, you know what, Tim? Let me just say this. You need to go ahead and tweet that out because that is a fire tweet. Cardano or Solana is McDonald's. Cardano is a 5-star restaurant. Thoughts? I think that's a good one. So I would go ahead, pull the phone out.
Listen. I'm trying to lay low a little bit on Twitter after the XRP shabacle here last week. Still, you know, I think I'm going to get monetized on Twitter alone from the XRP army, and that's not a positive thing. Either way, though, maybe I will. Maybe I'll go tweet that out and let's see if I can get to 150,000 views, and 149 of that is hate.
Well, hey, I think you should just start referring to cryptos as just different presidents. Just go straight political. That will help you on Twitter.
Yeah. This coin is Trump. This coin is Obama.
Oh, that's going to be fun. That'll be very fun.
That'll bring back some love.
Taft, man. Oh, if you only knew what coin Taft was.
It's so funny, man. We're in the ringer right now with the XRP army. But Paul Cormier, welcome to the alley, man. Thank you for joining us here at the Discover Crypto Alley
He's an ally.
or ally. Is that what this been?
Ally.
Man,
We need to change that because it says welcome to ally.
Ally.
Welcome ally. So we need a.
you know how many allies I have on my phone right now? That, like, of this everybody that was working here, there was like 4.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just like it fell into it. But either way, welcome as an ally to the stream here, guys. Still appreciate you, still love you, and make sure you check out the hidden gem altcoin video that me and Deezy actually had last Friday with everybody here going over Q&A and of course our favorite projects on the member-only stream here.
Metaspawn, McDonald's does have a higher market cap than most 5-star restaurants. Yes.
Wow.
But come on, you're doing token price. You're better than that, Metaspawn. You're better than that.
It's real estate.
For the people that are just now joining from the giveaway tweet, how are you doing today? We are at Discover Crypto. We bring you live content Monday through Friday, 7 days a week. We're giving you crypto content, and you maybe came from this tweet right here. Giveaway alert. And we're going to talk to the team here. We are going to give away 10,000 book token. It's right around 3 cents. I think it's like 0.2, 0.8, 0.9, somewhere around there. And 1 Gutenberg Bible, which is a 1,200 Cardano floor, 1,200 ADA floor here. All you got to do to enter, make sure you follow Discover Crypto. Make sure you follow Book.io. Hey, I appreciate if you follow me too, but not necessary here. And just like and repost this. And here's the link right here. Yeah, we're going to interview one of the book team members momentarily here. Pretty bullish on the coin, and if you go down in my Twitter, you'll see why I'm bearish on it. I'm sorry, Solana. Look, Chris O always putting out really good Cardano content, so I gave a little retweet.
A red ring of death one earlier today too.
Okay, the red ring of death. God,
it was like it was a towel. It was an Xbox wrapped in towels. If you guys ever remember doing that.
Oh yeah, put it in the oven.
Yeah, you put it in the oven.
Yeah.
Oh, I never did that trick. I would just wrap it in towels.
Yeah, it's like a really crappy way to resolder the chip.
Well, hey, if the Solana devs are listening in, make sure you guys put the servers in the oven and make them a little bit. But guys, speaking of Solana, to wrap up the news here for today, there is some bullish announcements coming out of Solana's Chapter 2 crypto phone, guys, reaches 60,000 pre-orders. It's catching up to the Apple headsets. I'd honestly put it in comparison. I think they sold maybe 400,000 was their anticipation.
What would you rather have? One's going to come with airdrops. One makes you look like a weirdo on the subway. Which would you rather have?
Probably the Solana phone, because the airdrop honestly might be able to actually pay for the Apple headsets. But I don't know. I mean, the Apple headset, guys, it's like $3,400 before taxes.
I like
$3,400.
Book gonna cook. I like that. Book gonna cook, baby.
Just
Book
don't
gonna
cook
cook.
books.
Folks, I told you about that coin under a penny. I feel good about that one. I told you about it months ago. It was less than a week old. So yeah, those who jumped in with me, we're up almost 3x. So we feel good about it.
Well, speaking of burning books, it looks like Joshua Stone is joining us here today. I know he's probably like, what are you talking about? Chat is going crazy. Josh, I like the name. I think I like the glasses. I think the only thing we're missing here is the leather. Wait, yeah.
I don't know what I'm looking at here.
Welcome to the show. Nice to meet you.
I got my nice 3-piece suit on today.
Wow. Yeah. Josh, you should have coordinated, wore a tie. But Josh, you look sharp as always, man. We're big fans of the book ecosystem. Those who don't know, I kind of did a little brief spot on it last week. We have a large book publisher was an investor or an advisor for the project. We also have Mark Cuban as an early investor in the project. We also have BookCon with Charles Hoskinson going to be speaking just in a couple months. What am I missing here, man? Tell me why else I should be bullish on book.
Oh gosh, so much. So just first, thanks for having me on the show. Love you guys. Thanks for all you're doing for the community too. It's awesome. Our investors have been great. Cuban's been awesome. So we have two book industry investors. One is actually Ingram Content. They're the largest book distributor on the planet. They actually, if you buy a book from Amazon, they're the ones who actually create that, print it, warehouse it, ship it to you. And then our other one is Bertelsmann. Bertelsmann owns Penguin Random House, which is the world's largest trade book publisher. So
I feel like every book from my childhood was like Penguin. So I would say these are pretty large publishing arms here.
Oh, absolutely. So our focus really is for your audience that doesn't know us. We do something a little bit different. We use NFTs, but we combine that with a lot of other decentralized storage so that we can create a DRM protected file. So what we do is we create books, ebooks, and audiobooks, and they live completely on chain. The entire contents of the book lives on chain, and that gives people the freedom to then own that book. So unlike an Amazon or an Audible or a Kindle or an Audible book or an iBook book, When you buy it, you didn't really buy it. You bought a license to look at it. So once you're done reading it, you can't do anything with it. So using blockchain, what we're really trying to do is focus on a bigger kind of mass market implementation. Because there's way more people. We're trying to meet people where they are, where they buy digital things, and where the mass market buys digital things right now. They buy books primarily because most of video and most of music are streaming. So that's kind of our target, is this much broader, like over billion plus people that buy digital books, and bringing the benefit and of the infrastructure of blockchain to them, to the products they already purchase.
You bring up a good point, because it's a misnomer. I feel like I'm just now having my eyes open here. It is a misnomer that we buy books. I don't buy any of my books on Playbooks, on Kindle. I lease it for the duration of my account, because that is a good point. I can't actually do anything with what I quote unquote own. It is stuck within that ecosystem, and it is essentially just a lease. But with Book.io, you're actually owning the content, and then you can maybe resell it in the future.
Yeah, honestly, it's very, at a higher level, it's dangerous too, in a way, because it leaves the power for the centralized retailer or the publisher author to go in and change the contents of that book. And we've seen this happen in the past. So you could lose your book. It would be like if somebody came into your house and took a physical book off your bookshelf and walked right out, right? Like nobody would accept that.
Yeah,
Same thing if they walked in and they
even
tore a page out or changed it,
Yeah, they come into your house, they white out a paragraph, then they rewrite it in something that's like 2024 friendly. That doesn't seem good to me. Call me crazy. Call me crazy. I really like everything you guys got going on with this ecosystem. Now, one thing that really has me excited, you're honestly the first protocol I've seen mention this. Move to earn was a thing. Play to earn was a thing. You have read to earn as a potential, roadmap implementation. Is there any talks with, maybe universities, schools, any kind of educational courses where you actually have someone willing to pay your company to have your users actually read whatever content?
Yeah, so a little quick history on that. Myself and my co-founder, we had started another ebook company in the past, back in 2009, and grew that up. And so we have relationships with all the publishers. And we actually, during that time, we did work with about 50 different universities, and really helped architect a way for them to deliver books to their students in large scale, large quantities. So that's definitely something that will apply. So yeah, our read to earn model is definitely different. It's we have, our token allocation, we have 50% of that is allocated just for our read to earn model. So basically the way it will function is as you're reading, you're effectively competing with everybody else, and we're tracking what how many words you're reading. And then you basically, every 4 hours, there's a deployment of a reward that's given.
So I can't Ty Lopez this and read and skim read for 15 seconds and understand the whole book and be paid? That's what you're telling me?
No. So we built kind of some prototypes of this back in the day, and got pretty detailed about watching your speed, and we broke it several times too as we went through it, right? So that you only could get credit for reading one book one time. It has to be within a certain parameter, a margin of how fast you typically read, how fast that book typically gets read. So there's a lot of parameters where if you were to just sit there, you'd have to be really detailed to turn the page at the exact right time, or we'll basically know that you're trying to cheat the system.
Oh, so you can't, was it Bruce Almighty it? Hit all the pages?
Yeah, I can't do that.
We have a shout out from Crypto Team, who's actually, that's who I used for a basis of a lot of the book knowledge there. So big shout out, Jasmine K, for the £5 there, I think. Anything else you want to ask?
Yeah, it's on the parameters front. I'm very curious. Most recently, from the academia side, I see a lot of potential with putting on-chain metrics and involving, eliminating the audible, eliminating that licensing issue where they can walk in, take that book off the shelf, and change it to fix their needs or fit their standards based off what could be a lawsuit for that licensing company, right? Can have nothing to do with the overall book, but change it completely. Do you see this affecting universities and just academia in the future with recent events such as the president of Harvard getting caught plagiarizing and making her way to the top, essentially illegally and fraudulently? Is this something that you see incorporating into universities within the next 5-10 years that will stop that plagiarizing from taking place?
Yeah, I think so. And I think on the plagiarizing side too, the other part of that is that it's so easy now with ChatGPT, where a student really wouldn't have to necessarily read content. They could just go and ask ChatGPT questions about that content. It's going to write everything for them. So in our system, then we would actually be able to see what you actually read, what you actually consumed. So if it was side by side, and I have somebody that has a degree versus somebody that I could verify and see that they've read 200 books on
Wow.
a particular topic, I'm going to know they're much more highly qualified than somebody who just, sat through class and probably used ChatGPT to write their papers.
So essentially with credentials in college now, there's actually a way we could be even able to incorporate. That's actually wild to think about, because now these students can't have their moms and pops doing their homework for them or ChatGPT doing it. They actually have to read the literature. This could actually help bring the IQ of Americans back up, and globally, and not just Americans, but just worldwide.
Yeah, let's start force feeding books on Apple Pro
You
Vision
must
goggles.
read. The retention span is just it's down. Obviously we've seen less than a goldfish now in comparison with on the TikTok viewership, and that's where I come from. So seeing that, it's really hard to get readers to actually, or not readers, but people to start reading and become readers. Even though implementing the incentive of read to earn is huge, I think that could be a massive narrative. Like, you already get that knowledge from that experience as well. So it's really cool that you guys are developing this. I noticed on the front, though, of your guys' website here, you have multiple books coming out. I'm very curious about the difference between, book and what you could say a New York Times bestseller. What are you guys seeing in terms of volume and the amount of adoption coming from purchasing these books on chain versus your competitors that are more centralized entities?
It's definitely we're selling different things, right? So we have control over the quantity. So unlike just an ebook that you could, buy on a retailer site where there's basically an unlimited quantity, we introduce, effectively the law of supply and demand back into the equation. So we can control, that we want to do 500 of these, or we want to do 5,000 or 10,000 or whatever number it is that we want to do. So we sort of plan those out. We work with publishers, we work with authors to kind of determine what the best quantity we think that would be right now as we're kind of scaling and growing. Typically, most things sell out just within seconds when we launch a new book. Some of them will, if we do larger mints, or, and we're also cross-chain. So we mint across 4 different blockchains right now. Sometimes they'll set longer on different chains depending on, the quantity. And sometimes, we get things right, sometimes we get things wrong, but a lot of it's just been an experiment over the last, I guess maybe almost 18 months or so.
So it's safe to say that the Cardano community reads more than any other community out there?
They do, yeah. I mean, they definitely, our community is awesome. Like, the Cardano community has been great. We started with Cardano. Our CTO has a lot of experience in Haskell, so it made a lot of sense. And then we branched out to ETH and Poly and Algorand. So, and then we do, we have, like we mentioned with the read to earn the token, actually some news I wanted to drop here. We're going to actually build a bridge for our token. So our token's a Cardano native token. We're actively working on building a bridge so we can bridge that to an ERC token as well, because we want the token itself to be a multi-chain token.
Now, I have a question. Now, this would be a chance for me to get educated here. So 1984, famous book, is known for pointing out issues with the government, issues with government control. It's been edited over the years. Who is behind these edits, and what would it take? I know 1984 has to be out for a certain amount of years before you could publish it, but what is the motive behind publishing or these edits? Is this giant publishing arms, like large conglomerates? Is this the artist's, grandson? It's just all of a sudden, oh, I agree with this narrative, so I want to change it. What is behind in 1984 in particular? What is behind the edits here?
Yeah, I mean, it could be a variety of factors. So the funny thing about 1984 is it's actually a public domain book in some countries,
it is already.
But in the U.S. it's not. So it just depends. I think the estate, the Orwell estate or somebody, continues to receive royalties from it here, and it's actually through HarperCollins right now. So we've actually talked with them about that, because we'd love to get that book launched. But that's kind of what it comes down to. If you're an author and you sell your book to a publisher, you don't own that anymore yourself as the author. So the publisher is free to basically do whatever they want with that book and with your content.
All right. Yeah, there's a lot of books I would like to see, no longer in print, maybe by controversial authors. I know God's Debris, Scott Adams, the one I really, really want to get hands on. So yeah, there's just, I see this ecosystem just almost boundless, because I see us going in one direction when it comes to censorship. We're getting more censorship, not less. And so, book just seems more and more bullish the more I think about it.
Yeah, that's one of our biggest, concerns, and kind of, back to the, the incentive structure side of it too. It's like, statistically, when you see a society that is higher educated, there's less crime, there's less violent crime. So that's something we really think, we're hopeful that if we introduce this structure whereby people can actually earn something back as they're reading, and there's like a direct incentive, right? Because there's a long-term incentive if you read, but a younger audience isn't going to appreciate that, right? You're not, when you're in school, you're frustrated that you're having to read, versus the immediacy that we can now use blockchain to just reward people as they're immediately reading.
And almost to a T, every billionaire that's self-made, not, trust fund or, just you have a certain last name like Walton, they all just read books ferociously. I do want to just give out the details here. We're going to be giving away 10,000 book token. It's right under 3 cents. And we're going to be giving away a Gutenberg Bible. I want to give a big shout out to the book team making that possible. I am a Gutenberg holder, but, this is gifted from the book team here. 1,200 ADA floor. The 10,000 book token at 3 cents a piece. We're looking at a lot of value here. So big shout out to the book team. Big shout out to BookCon. Again, Charles Hoskinson's going to be speaking there. We're going to have a lot of these other industry leaders there. And maybe we're going to try to back channel something. Maybe we get some boots on the ground there too. Discover Crypto.
I got some announcements coming out that we're going to work on. But Joshua, an absolute pleasure having you on today. Is there anything you could just let the audience know on what you guys are working on, what you guys are planning on coming out over the next few months? And more importantly, where can they find you on social media?
On social media, we're just at book_IO. And like you said, BookCon is April 20th. And looking forward to that. Got a lot of great speakers lined up. It's a pretty small venue, so we've got limited seats. So if you want to come see us in Texas and have some barbecue and hang out and see what the future holds, love to see you all.
As the community says, the book is going to cook.
Book is going to cook. Great. It's such a good
Lost my glasses,
man.
Man.
Josh, always a great time. Thank you. Yeah, I talked to that guy last week. I knew there's a good team there. Something strong there. Been very, very bullish. Let's see. Someone asked, why Cardano? Well, they did branch out 3 unique chains. The CTO knew Haskell, so I answered that. Josh, you rock. You too, Josh. You too.
Thank
Josh.
you. I couldn't tell what was happening on the stream. No, guys, Josh was an amazing guest. We
it was
got
like looking in a mirror.
I know. I was like, is that on me? Is that on me? But they're all good things apparently. So that's awesome to see, guys. Really exciting things coming up. Deezy's been kind of just every morning feeding me more information about book. It keeps making me more and more bullish. It's really cool to see because I use Audible all the time. I do not have any of those books. Once you stop paying for that subscription, which is just like Netflix, it goes up like almost every few months. Ultimately, I'm not going to have those licensing of those books in my actual portfolio.
You're leasing them. You don't own them.
It's like a very expensive library card. It's not actually as good as one. I'm just too lazy to go to the library.
No late fees.
And chat's like, what is a library? Hey, speaking of, guys, we have Bitcoin price, at 43K after trading sideways for 2 months. So Bitcoin miners now, guys, are no doubt closely watching fee revenues. And we're going to be moving into a lot of Bitcoin updates for you guys to know where markets are heading next. Bitcoin sat just above $43,000 early morning Monday, down 2.5% over the year to date, but ahead by half across the past 6 months. So Bitcoin's price is practically the same as it was at the start of December. You guys keep hearing this phrase, $40,000 Bitcoin in December is not the same as Bitcoin now it's February, but in February. Bitcoin is now the longest monthly winning streak since the previous bull market when it noticed 6 green monthly candles in a row between October 2020 and March 21st, or March of 2021. The run started around 5 months after Bitcoin's previous halving, which reduced miners' block rewards from $39,000 to $6.25, $265,000. So now that figure is to be slashed 3.1 at 134K. This is why that 4-year cycle takes place, guys. The mining rewards get cut in half and then in half and then in half, and it continues to take place. So as that demand sustains itself and the supply gets cut in half, it generally pushes that price
All right,
up.
I see a lot of people talking about the ads. Maybe we'll revisit our policy on that. It seems like they've juiced it more lately. Brian Armstrong, thank you for the alliance there, GM. And breaking news. This happened shortly before we went live. Block production has resumed, everybody. We have resumed following a successful upgrade. Jeff woke up. My name's Jeff.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness for Jeff. I know we're making a little fun, but look, this is crypto. If you can't have a smile when things are bad, you're in the wrong industry. Get out. Go trade gold and silver, okay? Because look, sometimes there's going to be a whole 15-month period where you're going to have to smile or you're going to be crying on the inside. But so the outage lasted approximately 5 hours, and they're looking on the root cause report soon. So that'll be available probably momentarily.
Yeah, and I wanted to pull up this chart here, which was interesting. Bitcoin price versus halving. So for anybody that's like, where are we moving into this next cycle over the next 3 months as we approach that Bitcoin halving? This was just staring at me in the face. And you have Bitcoin cash at the green line. Okay, you have Bitcoin of 2020 and then Bitcoin in 2016. So don't care about the green line. We just want to care about the blue and purple here. really it's only, everybody keeps talking about this major crash that's going to come in February or March. They say that's generally happens before the
You
pre-halving.
always get a crash pre-halving. Always.
The only one that was big was COVID. And that's obviously a black swan event. So, there's a very big possibility Bitcoin is going to be at a much higher rate and price point than we have had previous cycles. I broke there. But previous cycles, guys, and analysts are now estimating that they put sustainable price for miners at $30,200. So we're well above that price point, which means Bitcoin users have paid an estimated of $124 million to use the network over the past 30 days or so. Less than half the previous period, but 2/3 ahead of the average in the past year. So bullish movements coming out of Bitcoin miners, guys. We're approaching that Bitcoin halving. And this brings up the question, DZ, is Bitcoin going to go to 45K or $30,000 next? Chat, let me know what your price predictions are because we're about to cover this story. I'm curious to know, are you guys expecting lower prices or higher prices? Let us know in the chat.
I got to say 45 over 30. I think a better question is 39 or 45. Where do we go first?
Wow.
Now, that's a better question. I'm just eternally optimistic. So, I'm going to lean towards 45 in a vacuum. But the more and more people say we have to get a drawdown, we have to get a 20% correction still, even from this level, the 20% isn't enough. It needs to be 30%.
We have to.
40% from 49,000. That makes me think, maybe 45 is going to happen.
Now, Deezy, in chat, Deezy spent $25K a week to live stream, and Turtleneck says, terrible. My name is Jeff.
I saw that. Yeah. My name is Jeff. Is that one better?
We need the sound button for it, so you can just play it.
My name is Jeff.
Every time Solana crashes, boom, just hit it with it. And we'll actually have Deezy just do the voiceover for it.
I grew up in Texas. I grew up hearing those accents. I should know that. I should know that accent.
But guys, we had Eric Crown using a stochastic indicator. So where is it going to go? Is it going to go to 45 or 30K here, guys? In a video posted on his YouTube channel, Eric Crown used his stochastic indicator to analyze Bitcoin's current price and predict what direction the crypto token was likely heading. Based on his analysis, Crown noted that the current stochastic level was pointing to a potential correction that was well overdue for Bitcoin. The analyst claimed that a correction would likely see Bitcoin drop to $30,000, with him making the $28,000 price level as the worst case scenario. While he noted that on the 5-day HPDR bands, we are still showing that the median was around 44,500, as he expects Bitcoin could still see a move to 45K. So he kind of just says one or the other, but ultimately, I think that's the coverage. But
the schlong is what they call you, short and long.
We could go up.
Yeah.
But more than likely, we're going to go to 28K is kind of what I'm getting from this story. So let me know what you guys think on that. Again, it's going to be a 50-50 in that scenario. I'm on Deezy's front here. I think, we could easily come down to 38,000, 39,000. But even when you're looking at charts and just the overall sentiment in the markets, I believe at 38K, we could honestly see a double bottoming there. It'd be very, very likely. So I don't know necessarily, but ultimately I do expect we are only a few months, guys. We're less than 90 days, 85 days, I think now, from the Bitcoin halving, which again is the most bullish event in all of crypto history. So I'm excited.
Now we have a founder of a company that sells Bitcoin investments, and then Charles Edward, the guy who has a monetary incentive for Bitcoin going up. He says Bitcoin goes to 280K. I would be careful, with these moon math targets. You got to see, what's the background here, and you're like, oh, he has an asset fund called Capriole and Investments. All right, maybe he's going to come in a little bit more bullish than what maybe he really thinks there. BlackRock hitting 3.2 billion. There's a tweet I wanted to share real quick, though. I have to look at Deezy's likes real quick, and then because I think we have more information from James Seifert.
Pull it right now as you pull that up. We have since the inception, guys, of ETFs, the sector has seen $1.5 billion of net flows, which translates to a Bitcoin equivalent of approximately 33,611 Bitcoin. That is monumental when we look at those prices, guys. As a lot of people, it's primarily the shrimp wallets, which are people, I think, under like 0.01 Bitcoin, or it's like less than $1,000. Those are the majority of the wallets that are selling at these levels while whales are accumulating. And we haven't seen this take place since like early days of 2020 pre-Bitcoin halving. So this could show that, institutions, they don't want that price to go to that 28K, that 30K level. Maybe 38K is in the cards, but right now we're watching a lot of accumulation take place at these ranges. Did you find James's tweet yet?
I found a video, but it doesn't want to load. This was just it was just a flashy graphic. It looked, it's too much alpha. I don't know why it's being extra slow today.
So
Internet's
I think you can explain what happens though. Essentially, IBIT BlackRock, Larry Fink, someone that was incredibly against crypto. He hated Bitcoin, called it an a money laundering index, not anti. He just called it a straight up money laundering index for illicit activities. they are now the largest institutional holder of Bitcoin with these ETF funds. So they're accumulating hundreds of millions of dollars a week in Bitcoin, while of course retail is traditionally
I have
selling off.
the actual little graphics that he makes every morning. This is from 40 minutes ago, and it looks like we actually had outflows continuing for Grayscale, another $100 million. But the inflows offset it, and it looks like we're almost 69 million in the positive here. iShares and Fidelity, basically the only ones with action, minus the Grayscale outflows.
Yeah, I think that Grayscale FUD is finally simmered out and faded away. You have that Mt. Gox one might come back here soon, but that I think was very short-term lived. Those are all just in anticipation of that fear, that FUD, that uncertainty, and that doubt that we'd go down to those levels. But hey, guys, price action is strong. Bitcoin network fees fall 30% in 7 days, but miners are not panicking yet. So this is pretty much just miners that traditionally, when you see those transaction fees coming off, miners start to sell. But again, we're starting to see a lot of anticipation and accumulation around this Bitcoin halving coming up. And in fact, even though miners are selling off in December and early January, those price levels were absorbed pretty quickly. And then even with the Grayscale FUD, again, those levels were absorbed pretty quickly. So this could just show that the miners and the ones that are holding, again, remember who owns these miners. These miners, Deezy put out a great video a few days back about how BlackRock is the institution that owns and is the largest shareholder in a lot of these top miners in the country.
The largest ones, they are the largest shareholder.
So they're actually, it's like the top
Marathon,
five, right?
Riot. Well, for the top two, they are the largest shareholder for the top two. I think they have exposure for more, though. But for the top two, they are the largest investor.
Yeah, so they have a plan. They have a strategy, right? And we're approaching that having. So this is just bullish coming out of the Bitcoin miner data. On top of this, we now have Ethereum, guys. Apple co-founder, here first, praises Bitcoin. Apple's co-founder praises Bitcoin as a safe asset amid concerns about
Tim
crypto
Cook,
exploitation.
Speaking of book letting it cook, Tim Cook also likes Bitcoin to cook. Tim Cook's been a long vocal proponent of Bitcoin and other ETH too. I think he says he owns ETH and Bitcoin.
Yeah, and we have Wozniak here is another co-founder, which we don't need to play the full video here. Steve Wozniak, one of the co-founders as well, guys, a prominent figure in the tech industry, has voiced his support for Bitcoin. He actually launched a project way back when. I don't even know what happened to that. I think it was like, I don't know if you remember his token. It was like the electricity, EWT, I think might be his, or whatever it was. But Wozniak highlighted the proliferation of scams and fraudulent schemes targeting unsuspecting investors in the crypto and NFT market. He cited instances where opportunistic founders use celebrity endorsements. Yes, we get it, guys. Celebrities are going to pump and dump on their audiences, but he does believe that this is overall a safe haven and a stable and conservative
He gives it a
asset.
100K target.
100K target. That's huge.
100K target. So that's
Did it say
pretty
by
good.
when?
No, I want to say it's towards the bottom at the.
Yeah, I see it right here. Found it. Yeah, Wise expects confidence in Bitcoin's potential, suggesting it could surge to 100K. I agree with that. I think we're all expecting six figures here coming soon. Can Bitcoin weather the storm? China's economic woes put to crypto to the test. Now, I'm not going to spoil this one because ultimately I just put out a video on this with the state of China's economy, with their local financial government vehicles and the current real estate issue and bubble that they are facing. Now, traditionally, guys, when there's this amount of fear and you're down 50, 60% on your stock market, which China is in a lot of different scenarios, this could be the signs and the beginnings of a bottoming within that cycle because they're going to start printing a lot of money. But there's one massive key indicator you guys are going to want to watch that video on. It's the China crisis that is showing a lot of investors buying a specific asset, and that could mean a huge thing for a lot of altcoins in the Southeastern Asian market. So you guys are going to want to check that out because the turmoil may not be what you expect.
Adam Leroy knows what's up. I'm going to rewatch this several times. He's going to make it this bull run. Adam Leroy, he knows the blueprint right there. We do have a change of heart. South Korea to discuss spot Bitcoin ETFs with the US SEC. South Korea has a fairly large GDP for how small that country is. So I would say South Korea Bitcoin ETFs, they already have a strong desire for Bitcoin. And then I think a lot of these elder Korean businessmen have just been chattered up by their grandson, by their nephew, by their son that lives in the basement. Buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin.
Yeah.
They're going to be a little bit safer. They're going to hesitate a little bit. And I expect the Bitcoin ETFs in South Korea to have a higher adoption rate than in America. But, there's just a lot more capital in America. So it won't be as big as an impact. But to me,
baby steps,
it's a baby step. And in the country, it's a huge step.
100%. And for you guys that don't know, the reason for this is South Korea's had bans on ETFs and these products, like you mentioned. And I honestly, it probably comes to the culture and just the retrospect of what they've done in the past. And this is a new emerging asset that doesn't have a lot of time around it. And that's why a lot of older investors in this industry, I feel like, are so against it. Like, oh, it's got 10 years of price action. We cannot guarantee what's going to take place here. While that's true, we can look at the statistics of overall economic debt and federal debt and consumer credit debt and everything over the last 100 years. So we can kind of project where we're heading here in the future. So bullish signal. We have Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen warning of crypto risks, of course. This
It's just such a brain take. It's a bird brain take right there. She's just carrying water for the big banking cartel right here. This was from the House Financial Services Committee, and this is well known to be a bastion of bank executives here. So very, very friendly with banks, friendly with Wall Street. And then if you're friendly with Wall Street, you're probably anti-crypto.
Yeah, I'm going to be dropping a video on the Fed pivot, what that means for markets here coming up this week. But ultimately, guys, Janet Yellen and them were completely wrong, utterly wrong. And that was expressed in the interview on 60 Minutes with Jerome Powell. So we'll be breaking that down, what it means for these markets. But time and time again, guys, the markets weren't transitory. There was no transitory inflation. They were wrong. They kept changing these descriptions and changing the definitions in our textbooks. So that way they could be right. So Bitcoin is that answer. And of course, there is risks as it's going to continue to be adopted.
Those textbooks should have been on book then.
Yeah, this textbook should have been on book. We want to have,
book. Let book cook, baby.
Let it cook. We have gold, guys, setting to hit a $2,200 range, with silver expected to rise when Federal Reserve begins cutting rates, says UBS here. UBS. According to the global financial services giant UBS, I'm just going to call it UBS, but UBS, guys, both gold and silver poised for significant increases later this year.
Let us know in the chat, who owns metal? Do you own some gold? Do you own some silver? Are you pissed off silver hasn't done anything in 15 years like I am? So what's going on? Silver, step it up. Actually, it's not quite 15 years. I think I first bought silver 12 years ago, and I had a buddy saying, no, man, you should definitely buy some Bitcoin instead. I want to say that timeline's right.
And this brings in a really cool discussion on Bitcoin specifically, not maybe altcoins, but Bitcoin starting to really trade as that commodity that the Federal Reserve has claimed it to be. So they call it a digital commodity. So if we do transition towards this period of commodities of a super cycle, which we get about every 15 years, you get stock markets going up for about 15 years, then you transition into commodities for about 15 years, and it kind of just goes back and forth. If we do see that pivot, maybe there's a short-term, pullback, maybe we do run into that recession, whatever analysts are trying to project here, but there could be a point where Bitcoin actually breaks out with commodities either way because of the money printers that are turned on in the scenario. So would be interested to see. We do see gold, though, silver, oil, copper, all trading pretty closely to Bitcoin.
Speaking of gold, we got gold bug Peter Schiff.
Of course.
He is battling Trump and saying, talking about inflation, is saying the reason that Trump seems to believe inflation is a problem because we're not drilling enough oil. If we don't cut government spending, I love how he says if Trump doesn't cut government spending like he has power right now, he's not the president. Something he failed to do during his first term. Inflation will get much worse under his presidency, no matter how much oil we drill, baby. Isn't a large part of the oil prices declining was tapping into the Strategic Petroleum Reserve? I'd have to look at the specific numbers.
There's so many things, especially like with the Middle East too, like deciding to, lift or cut supply on a given day because of, geopolitical tensions. I honestly have to agree with Peter Schiff on this side.
Oil does cause, when there's higher transportation costs for food, that is a key driver of inflation.
Yeah, less oil, higher prices, supply chain, it factors all into our groceries. And so I have to say this, I don't say this often, but I'm going to have to agree with Peter here. And even Jerome Powell said it in his 60 Minutes. He's like, look, they can adjust everything they need to, even with just from not a fiscal front, but from them actually just printing money and deciding to lift interest rates or, drop interest rates. It's going to really be up to Congress to budget and not spend hundreds of billions of dollars overseas, because that's going to continue to have an effect on our inflation, our economy here.
We have Trump themed tokens are rocketing as a prominent crypto fund bets on coins modeled after the ex-president right here. Fun fact, I don't know if it's going to go into the article here. You have it highlighted. Trump was airdropped a lot of the Trump supply. Not a lot, but it is worth millions, I believe, at this point, since we are above $2. I'll go ahead and pull up the chart while you look at this article here. But yeah, the Trump BJ, have you been following the Trump coin price?
I actually closed out, but BJ, you're holding it, right?
I'm not, but we were talking about it on the basement. If it was going to be the first meme coin to hit $1.
Oh my God.
And it's at what, like 2 something?
Show my screen here.
Oh, I'm showing it.
50%.
50%
Wow.
today.
Is it
Wow.
technically the first
50%
meme
pump.
coin?
Shout
to
out
hit
to
$1?
the blockchain basement, man.
Holy crap. Yeah, I mean, oh, wow. Look at this thing. Yeah, so this coin has been moving. It got rejected off $2. And I saw a lot of people say from a TA perspective, it is a buy. The reason I didn't buy is because I knew I wasn't going to buy that much and it wasn't going to affect it. But wow.
I mean,
yeah, if you held that, congrats. You guys are doing pretty
you know,
well.
and it might be pumping too off the announcement that Trump just came out and said he wants to debate Biden. So you know, there's going to be a lot of hype around that, and I would imagine a lot of his NFTs, those tokens, they're gonna rip.
Well,
during
you
that.
need to have two mentally active parties to have a debate.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how he's going to debate Biden.
Well, even if it's, I don't know how it's, if it happens though, imagine like the deep fakes that are created saying buy MAGA coin.
Oh
you
my
know,
God,
like
it's gonna be
hype and they'll just keep pushing that price up. Just know they're
we had a small like crypto investment firm say that they're going to accumulate this. Big shout out to Forrest and Sistine Chapel, friend of the channel. He was on Trump very early. He told people to buy Trump at 8 cents. I didn't. I saw it at 10 cents. I didn't buy it. So if you guys bought it, you know you're up. But
for which project?
For MAGA, for the Trump coin. Yeah, he told people to buy under 10 cents.
Wow.
Yeah. So Forrest, 0x Forrest. He's assisting.
It's like a
Sistine
40x for them right now. 50x. Yeah.
So congrats on that. What else do we got here today? We also have FTX stuff. I don't know what you want to cover.
FTX, I think everybody understands that's just going to be a slow burn here. We have Eigenlayer, though, lifts staking cap and total value lock source past $3 billion. Eigenlayer has been on an absolute tear here, guys. Their restaking platform, which essentially allows you to take Ethereum, I believe, deposit into their network. Then you get rewarded for that, and you can delegate that immediately. It's like instantaneously into a bunch of different, and branch it out into a bunch of different DeFi products. If you guys want a video on that, we can do a full breakdown on that, but you can look on DeFi Llama showing the inflows of over 1 million Ethereum flooded Eigenlayer within 2 hours after the restaking protocol lifted its cap on the deposits. So leading to a cumulative TVL of more than $3 billion. Eigenlayer placed the official TVL at $3.2 billion at press time, representing a $1 billion increase. Now that also has to do with quite a few other tokens that are pumping within that ecosystem. But ultimately, guys, anytime that value is being locked with that and distributed, it allows these products to see a lot more liquidity and volume that are within those ecosystems. And that's where I talk about, cool, layer one, right? It's why I diversify it. Let's say Solana is the example. Solana's worth $32 billion. Well, where's the liquidity being restaked and distributed among the DeFi in that ecosystem? What DEXs? What are providing those liquidities? That's what you want to pay attention to find those hidden gems that can really move in price. Eigenlayer allows investors to earn additional interest on their already Ethereum staked tokens. So again, you're staking your Ethereum and then you're able to restake them by securing other chains. So Eigenlayer currently supports popular liquid staking tokens, LSTs, like Lido DAO, which is your Lido staked ETH, STEE.
And this is different than This is different than
like
liquid staking on Cardano. There's a little misnomer. Liquid staking, originally, BJ, maybe correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think there was an ERC capability before Cardano was running with the term liquid staking, but now there's kind of two meanings.
I mean, I still wouldn't say that ETH is
Had to throw the Cardano first there, right?
Well, liquid staking within Cardano is like, so I have it staked within my wallet, and every 5 days, every epoch, I'm given a Cardano reward, and that is, I'm liquid staking. But while I'm liquid staking within my Nami wallet, I can trade, buy, do all the things.
Yeah, actual liquid staking.
Yeah, I don't have to unstake before I can do something.
Unlike Ethereum, where you have to take ETH to move it to STETH, then stake that.
You know what, BJ? This is the more popular definition now. So what do we do?
And it has more value
definition, like the government.
Just change the definition.
Change the definition.
Well, it's going to be adopted through every system and chain. So, I think they just partnered with the ICP2, Internet Computer Protocol, and a few other chains. I think they're up to 10 at this point. So, just going to be able to add more liquidity and value across chains. You're starting to really get that interoperability a lot more with DeFi liquidity in these markets. But I think you're just going to see that narrative push forward, which actually left up to Puffer Finance here. I actually pulled this up just because we were talking about Johnny earlier, which was just part of that ecosystem with the restaking. ENS partners with GoDaddy to enable users to link wallets to domains. That is really big. I do believe having that domain status and being able to, I don't know, guys, let me know in the chat. Who owns ENS domains? Does anybody have an ENS domain in the chat? Do you?
Oh, yeah, chat. Yeah, let us know. I'm DZ.eth.
You're DZ.eth. I couldn't get my ETH. You know why? Someone took it and was like, I'll give it to you for $5,000. Wow, I'll never be able to get my Joshua
I will
Jake.
say, I keep bringing up Cardano's. I had a Cardano community member send me the Deezy ADA handle. I threw him some NFTs. So really, really appreciative. Obviously that wasn't your, scenario that happened on Ethereum. So
No, that they were like, hey, I have your domain. Want to send me $5,000?
We had much different experiences on Ethereum and Cardano.
I was like, thanks. But we have DeFi dominating crypto venture capital space in January, guys, but overall funding dropped. So really the article takeaway from here is the report shows that we had a month-on-month increase of 10.8% from 102 projects in December of 2023. The total fundraising amount in January was $650 million. This is a month-on-month decrease of 28% from the $910 million in December. Now, honestly, that's still a lot of money being raised for projects in DeFi and crypto. This is why I've been talking about how it does feel like early stages 2020. In fact, after I do believe the Bitcoin ETF kind of propped up prices to something that just hasn't happened in previous bull cycles. And where I'm like, people are like, no, we're going to go back to $20,000. We're going to go back to $28,000. We're going to wait for $33,000. Give me the same vibes of 2020 when Ethereum went from $200 to $1,000. I'm like, no, it's going to crash back down to 500 before I buy in. And like, they ended up just never seeing those price points again. It's kind of that same attribute. We're seeing the investments, we're seeing the ICOs, we're seeing the money's being raised. The sentiment is going back up. It gives me those early bull run stage vibes.
And speaking of bull run vibes here, we're getting some good questions. It is what it is, all caps. Which are the best long-term coins that are here to stay, not just get rich quick coins? I heard a pretty good narrative that Avalanche always likes to follow Solana, but at a slight delay. So some are saying Avalanche is due for another pop. I think Avalanche would be a fine coin. Cardano would be a fine coin. Ethereum obviously would be a fine coin. There's plenty of strong projects, but if you want to get a little bit lower, like below 60 in market cap, but above 20, I'm a big fan of Celestia. I think you're going to do pretty good with Celestia. And anything you want to throw out in the 20 to 50 range market cap,
or just
long-term coins that are here to stay, not just get rich quick coins. Meaning, I think, avoid a 90% full.
I think people still fade like Polygon Matic because they have their massive integration. Right now, Polygon Matic, like if I ask chat right now, do you think it's a layer 1 or a layer 2? You're all going to say a layer 2, and that's because that's what it was built for. But the new upgrades that are embedding the ZK rollups and everything, it's going to start acting as itself as a layer 1. And I still think that hasn't necessarily been priced into the market here, because now you're going to compare that with a Solana. You're not going to compare it with another layer 2, right? You're not going to compare it with your Arbitrums or your Optimisms, etc. Which honestly, some of those do act as layer 1s. But the focus here from the 20s to 50s, they're constantly changing. What just broke the top 27 today? Wasn't there one that you said that was like, it just moved into the top 30s?
Oh, yeah. Let's look here. We're going to CoinGecko. We're looking live, everybody. We are looking live. And it was BitTensor.
Tensor.
I mean, I would rather hold some other strong like L1s. I would rather hold TIA than BitTensor.
Yeah, you have SUI. That's, I think their volume is insane. When you compare that to other like layer 1s out there, it's like number 37 or something, outperforming a lot of the ones in the top 10. What I would say, though, I wanted to show this article quickly before, we move on to our favorite altcoins, is Monero, guys. $115 down 29% in the last 24 hours. You can see this massive sell-off. So what I would say is I would be cautious with your privacy tokens. I don't think Monero is going to go anywhere, but what took place today, guys, was Monero was delisted from Binance. So their token has dropped nearly by 30% in the last 24 hours, as well as 3 other tokens to be delisted. You have Aragon, Multichain, which is, I think, used to be Elron, and VAI, no longer meet the standards Binance expects, which is alarming to see. That means legislation is working. That means regulation is coming. And if these 3 tokens got taken down, that means there is going to be more to come. And it's very interesting to see that one be like the first leader because it's a privacy token.
Yeah.
So what is the narrative for 2024? It's probably the disruption of the privacy tokens because they already came after the ETFs. I think privacy tokens and exchanges are next.
So the narrative is sell your Zcash at an 80% loss.
Well,
I'm probably going to.
I'm not a fan of Barry Selbert. I'm a fan of Monero. I don't think it's necessarily going to go anywhere. I think this might be. I haven't looked at Monero in a while, but Edward Snowden and everybody backing that. There's a lot of
big fans.
A lot of big fans.
Sorry, Mind Your Biz, big fan of Monero. So he'll buy your cheap Monero there.
Exactly. So I don't think it's going to go anywhere, but you could see those delists, which obviously have an effect on the market.
Speaking of delist, I don't know if you saw the DPIN article. Crypto's biggest sector for 2024. It's about 5 from the N.
Yeah.
Figure you might want to talk. This is your narrative. This is kind of your bread and butter right here.
Yeah. So
sell me.
I'm going to sell you right now. Decentralized physical
Sell me this
infrastructure.
D-pin.
Sell me this deepen. Do you need to be deepening your bags? Because this is what I got for you.
You had a pun.
I hit it.
I'm in.
I got it. You're already there for it. But guys, decentralized physical infrastructures are just something I think are going to be needed more and more. And they're obviously going to be needed more and more with the advancements of artificial intelligence and just the adoption of like supercomputers. This is where we're heading. We're heading towards larger technology, which is going to require more rendering, more data storage, more cloud computing, and everything. So as markets thaw and more institution pour money into Web3, there's one facet of the industry that is particularly well positioned to take the center stage. That's DePIN. Why? Combined with the supply side and demand side of real world data verified by blockchain, and you unlock a $2.2 trillion market cap that incorporates blockchain, AI, and real world value in Web3. So they're expecting a massive amount of AI startups starting to rise this year. This is where a lot of the investments are going. And this has obviously created an enormous demand for computing power for data processing. So I don't need to go into the technicals. I think that would really bore everybody. But essentially, everything relies on Amazon Web Services. Of course, Jeff Bezos on his beautiful 5,000-foot yachts with his helicopters coming in and bringing him some 5-star meal. Yeah, it's because 32% of the world literally relies on Amazon Web Services to actually run. So decentralizing that, disrupting that is much needed. And that's going to be in competition with Microsoft, Alibaba, Google Cloud, and IBM Cloud. So I don't expect it to replace Amazon whatsoever. But even if you're looking at a small percentage of that gap and that value, this industry is very early and we're seeing it needed more and more each and every single day. And just imagine, guys, I don't know, can't predict this. There's a lot of tensions geopolitically with like Taiwan and China, which Taiwan is the largest supply chain producer in the world. Since at the Biden administration, one thing I got to give credit to them for is the CHIPS Plan 4 Act, where they're trying to bring the semiconductor production from there into South Korea, Japan, and the United States. But it's going to take a few years to build. So if we have another supply chain crunch where, you know, another COVID-19 or a World War III, whatever happens or takes place, and there's a crunch, that's going to cause the need for this data storage, this computing, these semiconductors, and all that processing power. That demand's going to go through the roof. So with limited supply and high demand, prices go up. And that is the road that we're heading on. Artificial intelligence is increasing. You're going to have a higher demand for more technology. And that's why I'm so bullish on DePIN as a category. I have a video dropping with my top 3. So make sure you guys smash that like button, subscribe to that channel, turn on those post notifications, because I believe it's dropping tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. All right. Well, I think there's a good time to end. I do have a very unless anything you want to add. No. I have a very captivating video. It's insane early stunts, has zero to do with crypto. Just every now and then we like to give you a little bit of something blessed from the timeline here. Insane early stunts. And folks, I mean, we can almost just roll the show out because some of these are actually, hold on, I got to do it this way. Oh my, why am I spacing? I'm terrible with names. Who's the I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening to your internet today. Does it say his name? A lot of this is Charlie Chaplin. That's him. That's like Charlie Chaplin, I believe. Charlie, yeah. There's some of these are involving trains. It was back in the day. What a mania. Oh my gosh. What is going on there? Dude, this is crazy. I just quoted it and said crypto in 2022, but the ones with the trains, there's one where a guy's, oh my gosh. There's one where lay down, move. There's one, oh my God, don't hit him, please. There's one where he's running on top of the train. It's about 5 to maybe 15 seconds from now. Look at that. That guy's literally Harold Lloyd. Oh man. All right, here we're coming up. That looks like Look at that. That's investing in crypto. If you're here for the long haul. We're here because we like running on top of trains.
So is this 1920s Jackass?
The OG I think it was the Johnny car ride one. I watched a breakdown of that video once, and they were like, how many bones he broke in every single one of those scenes is just like, it's insane. He's broken so many bones in every scene, and he just gets up and does it again. I'm like, holy smokes. Well, that's all we got, folks. We appreciate you sticking around this long. We just wanted to put a little smile on your face. I know a little video like this isn't for everybody. You want to stick to crypto, but I think the most of you getting a nice little chuckle from that. But folks, that is crypto. Be careful. We'll see you tomorrow. And we're giving away the book token and the NFT worth 1,200 Cardano. We're going to get away tomorrow live on the live stream. We're going to do Twitter picker. Make sure you go to my Twitter. Check out the details. Also on Discover Crypto. Also on book. You can't miss it. Hey, let's win 1,700. It's almost $1,000, guys. Come enter. Come get excited. It's going to be hump day. We're going to celebrate. That will buy you a used car in the future. Oh, there we go.